as I promised a month ago that we would be back to Pennsylvania to cover more haunted spots. So welcome to our spine-tingling tour of the most haunted places in Pennsylvania, Part 2. This state is not just about its rich history and beautiful landscapes, it's also a hotbed of paranormal activity that will send shivers down your spine. Whether you're a seasoned ghost hunter or a curious newbie, Pennsylvania has something eerie for everyone. So gather around as we embark on this thrilling adventure. Grab your ghost hunting gear, because we're diving into some seriously spooky spots. So get ready to scream as we explore the haunted corners of Pennsylvania. From high-tech gadgets to old-school tools, make sure you're well-equipped for this ghostly journey. That's right, we're talking about the Keystone State, home to cheesesteaks, the Liberty Bell, and enough ghost stories to make your hair stand on end. Pennsylvania is a state rich in history, and with that history comes a plethora of ghostly tales. From the bustling streets of Philadelphia to the quiet, eerie woods, there's no shortage of haunted locations to explore. So whether you're here for the history or the ghosts, Pennsylvania has it all. From abandoned hospitals to Revolutionary War battlefields, Pennsylvania's got it all when it comes to paranormal activity. Imagine walking through the dark, deserted hallways of an old hospital, where the echoes of the past seem to follow you. Or standing on a battlefield at dusk, where the spirits of soldiers long gone still linger. These places are not just historical landmarks. They are living, breathing entities with stories to tell. We're here today to uncover some of those stories. There's something about walking into an abandoned building where the air feels thick with history and mystery. The creaking floors, the distant whispers, the shadows that seem to move on their own. It's enough to make anyone feel uneasy. But that's what makes this adventure so exciting. We're not just here to scare ourselves. We're here to uncover the truth behind these haunted locations. So, whether you're a seasoned ghost hunter or a first-timer, embrace the fear and enjoy the ride. After all, it's not every day you get to explore the haunted side of Pennsylvania. This is a state with a bloody history, and with that history comes a treasure trove of ghost stories. Are you ready for the journey? Let's get ready to explore this very haunted state. Welcome to Screamville. First up on our haunted hit list is Dickman State Hospital, originally known as the Western Pennsylvania Hospital for the Insane. This institution, with its imposing architecture and eerie atmosphere, has a history as twisted as the corridors within its walls. The very name Hospital for the Insane conjures images of dark, shadowy figures and the anguished cries of those who were confined within. It's a place where the line between reality and the supernatural seems to blur, and the stories that have emerged from its history are as chilling as they are fascinating. Now, I'm not a doctor, but that name alone sends shivers down my spine. The words Hospital for the Insane evoke a sense of dread and foreboding, as if the very walls of the building are whispering secrets of the past. It's a name that hints at the suffering and torment that took place within. And it's no wonder that Dickman has become a focal point for tales of hauntings and paranormal activity. It's like they were trying to attract ghosts with that branding. The signage and branding of the hospital seem almost designed to instill fear and unease. The Gothic lettering and ominous phrases create an atmosphere that feels more like a haunted house attraction than a place of healing. It's as if the hospital itself was aware of the dark history it would come to embody and wanted to warn visitors of the horrors within. Established in 1862, Dickman was designed by Dorothea Dix, a woman who genuinely believed in treating patients with compassion. Dorothea Dix was a pioneering advocate for the mentally ill, and her vision for Dickman was one of care and rehabilitation. She fought tirelessly to improve conditions for those suffering from mental illness, and her efforts led to the creation of several institutions aimed at providing humane treatment. Dickman was supposed to be a sanctuary, a place where patients could find solace and healing. Unfortunately, her vision went about as well as a lead balloon in a windstorm. Despite Dorothea Dix's noble intentions, the reality of Dickman's operation fell far short of her ideals. Over time, the hospital became a place of overcrowding, neglect, and despair. The once grand buildings fell into disrepair, and the compassionate care that Dix had envisioned was replaced by a system that seemed to forget the humanity of its patients. Over time, Dickman gained a reputation for some questionable medical practices. The hospital's population swelled far beyond its capacity, leading to cramped and unsanitary conditions. Patients were often left to languish in their rooms with little to no treatment, and the staff, overwhelmed and under-resourced, struggled to provide even the most basic care. Reports of abuse and mistreatment became common, and the hospital's reputation as a place of horror began to take root. Imagine, if you will, being stuck in this place with nothing to do but stare at the walls and listen to the screams of your fellow patients. The isolation and monotony of life at Dickman were enough to drive anyone to the brink of madness. Patients were often left alone for hours on end, with nothing to occupy their minds but the oppressive silence and the occasional outburst from a fellow inmate. The sense of hopelessness and despair was palpable, and it's no wonder that many believed the hospital to be haunted by the spirits of those who suffered there. That's enough to drive anyone a little batty, even without the added bonus of potential paranormal activity. The eerie atmosphere of the hospital, with its flickering lights and shadowy hallways, only added to the sense of unease. Stories of ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena became commonplace, and the hospital's dark history seemed to seep into every corner of the building. For those who worked or were confined there, the line between reality and the supernatural often seemed to blur. And let's not forget the rumors of medical experiments, shadowy figures lurking in the hallways, and the unsettling feeling that you're being watched. The hospital's history is rife with tales of unethical medical practices and experiments conducted on unwilling patients. These stories, whether true or exaggerated, have only added to the hospital's reputation as a place of horror. The sense of being watched, of unseen eyes following your every move, is a common experience for those who have visited the abandoned site. It's as if the spirits of the past are still present, unable to find peace. It's like a horror movie waiting to happen, but with worse catering. The dilapidated state of the hospital's facilities, from the crumbling walls to the decaying furniture, creates an atmosphere that feels straight out of a nightmare. The cafeteria, once a place where patients gathered for meals, now stands empty and forlorn, a testament to the neglect and abandonment that has plagued the hospital for decades. The sense of decay and desolation is overwhelming, and it's easy to imagine the horrors that once took place within these walls. The property was purchased by Ralph Stroin. He intended to develop the site, including building a Walmart supercenter. However, the project faced significant opposition from local groups, primarily Communities First, who were against any big-box store construction on the site. This opposition led to delays and complications with permits and environmental plans. Despite Walmart's interest and the developer's willingness to cover the cleanup costs, the project never came to fruition due to these ongoing disputes and the inability to obtain the necessary permits. Also during the regrading process, a landslide occurred which blocked a 4-lane highway and 2 railway tracks. This added to the complications and delays in the development process. A lot of people believe that the spirits caused these problems to stop construction, but the abandoned hospital became a hotspot for trespassing and vandalism, which posed risks to the community and was demolished in 2006. All right, ghost enthusiasts and history buffs, saddle up your horses because we're galloping back in time to the 1760s, to a little slice of Pennsylvania history known as the Bonet Tavern. Now, this isn't your average Applebee's, folks. This tavern has seen it all: frontier life, Revolutionary War shenanigans, and enough ghostly encounters to make your head spin faster than a bar fight. Built in 1762, this place was a popular stop for travelers and locals alike. A place to grab a pint, swap stories, and maybe get into a fistfight or two, typical tavern stuff. But over the centuries, the Bonet Tavern has become known for something a little less ordinary: its resident ghosts. Now, I'm not saying that every creaky floorboard or flickering light is a sign of paranormal activity, but when you've got guests reporting apparitions, disembodied voices, and cold spots, well, it's hard to ignore the possibility that something spooky is going on. Let's dive deeper into the history of this fascinating place. The Bonet Tavern is located in Bedford County, Pennsylvania, a region rich with history and tales of the past. The area was a significant crossroads during the colonial era, serving as a vital link between the eastern settlements and the western frontier. This strategic location made it a bustling hub of activity, attracting travelers, traders, and even soldiers. Imagine the scene: weary travelers arriving at the tavern after a long journey, their horses tied up outside, the smell of hearty meals wafting through the air, and the warm glow of candlelight spilling out from the windows. The Jean Bonet Tavern was more than just a place to eat and drink. It was a sanctuary, a place where stories were shared, deals were made, and friendships were forged. The tavern's history is documented in various letters, maps, and records from the era. These documents reveal a vibrant community that thrived around the tavern, with people from all walks of life coming together under its roof. From farmers and merchants to soldiers and politicians, the Jean Bonet Tavern was a melting pot of colonial America. Meals at the tavern were a communal affair, with large tables filled with people enjoying hearty dishes made from locally sourced ingredients. The menu would have included items like roasted meats, stews, fresh bread, and seasonal vegetables. And of course, no meal was complete without a pint of ale or a glass of wine. The bar at the Jean Bonet Tavern was always bustling, with the bartender serving up drinks and listening to the latest gossip and news. It was a place where people could relax, unwind, and enjoy a moment of respite from the challenges of frontier life. Entertainment was also a big part of life at the tavern. On special occasions, the tavern would host dances and musical performances, with fiddlers and other musicians providing the soundtrack for a night of merriment. These events were a chance for the community to come together, celebrate, and forget their worries for a while. The tavern's ledger, a record of transactions and payments, provides a glimpse into the daily operations of the establishment. It shows the variety of goods and services offered, from meals and drinks to lodging and supplies. The ledger also reveals the names of some of the tavern's patrons, giving us a sense of the diverse clientele that frequented the establishment. Conflicts and disputes were not uncommon at the tavern, but they were usually resolved quickly, often with the help of a mediator or the tavern keeper himself. The tavern was a place where people could air their grievances, negotiate solutions, and move on with their lives. The Revolutionary War brought significant changes to the Jean Bonet Tavern. As tensions between the colonies and Britain escalated, the tavern became a gathering place for patriots and loyalists alike. It was a place where political debates raged, strategies were discussed, and alliances were formed. Soldiers would often stop at the tavern to rest, resupply, and plan their next moves. The tavern's strategic location made it an ideal spot for military operations, and it played a crucial role in the war effort. The walls of the tavern have undoubtedly heard many a secret conversation and witnessed the making of history. Personal accounts from letters and diaries of the time provide a vivid picture of the tavern's role during the war. These documents tell stories of bravery, sacrifice, and the indomitable spirit of the people who fought for their freedom. The Jean Bonet Tavern was more than just a building, it was a symbol of resilience and hope. But what about the ghosts? Over the years, the Jean Bonet Tavern has gained a reputation for being one of the most haunted places in Pennsylvania. Guests and staff alike have reported numerous paranormal experiences, from ghostly apparitions to unexplained noises and cold spots. Paranormal investigators have visited the tavern on multiple occasions, using various tools and techniques to try and capture evidence of the supernatural. Some have reported capturing EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, strange EMF, electromagnetic field readings, and even sightings of ghostly figures. One of the most famous ghost stories associated with the Jean Bonet Tavern is that of a colonial-era soldier who is said to haunt the building. According to legend, this soldier was killed in a skirmish near the tavern and has been seen wandering the halls ever since. Witnesses have described seeing a figure in colonial attire, sometimes appearing solid and other times more translucent. Some believe that this ghostly soldier could be the spirit of a specific individual, perhaps someone who played a significant role in the tavern's history. Historical records and portraits from the era have been examined in an attempt to identify the ghost, but his true identity remains a mystery. Another common ghostly encounter at the Jean Bonet Tavern involves the sound of footsteps in empty rooms, doors opening and closing on their own, and objects moving without explanation. These experiences have been reported by both guests and staff, adding to the tavern's eerie reputation. The guest book at the Jean Bonet Tavern contains numerous entries from visitors who have had paranormal experiences. Some describe feeling a sudden chill, hearing whispers, or seeing shadowy figures out of the corner of their eye. These accounts provide a fascinating glimpse into the ongoing mystery of the tavern's hauntings. Today, the Jean Bonet Tavern embraces its haunted history, offering ghost tours and paranormal investigations for those brave enough to explore its dark corners. These tours provide an opportunity to learn more about the tavern's history, hear firsthand accounts of ghostly encounters, and perhaps even experience something supernatural for themselves. The Bonet Tavern is not just a place to eat and drink. It's a living museum, a testament to the rich history and enduring spirit of Pennsylvania. Whether you're a history buff, a ghost enthusiast, or simply someone looking for a unique experience, the Bonet Tavern has something to offer. So, the next time you find yourself in Bedford County, make sure to stop by the Bonet Tavern. Enjoy a meal, raise a glass, and take a moment to appreciate the history and mystery that surrounds this remarkable place. Who knows? You might just have a ghostly encounter of your own. As the candlelight flickers and the shadows dance on the walls, remember that you're standing in a place where history and the supernatural intertwine. The Bonet Tavern is a place where the past is never truly gone, and where the spirits of those who came before us still linger, waiting to share their stories. From tavern to terror, the Bonet Tavern is a journey through time, a glimpse into the lives of those who shaped our history, and a reminder that some stories never truly end. All right, get ready because we're about to dive headfirst into the Celier House. This place is so haunted they called it the house the devil built. I mean, come on, that's a pretty aggressive marketing campaign for a house, right? This thing makes Amityville look like a relaxing spa getaway. We're talking murder, poltergeist activity, the whole 9 yards of paranormal pandemonium. It's like someone took all the worst parts of a horror movie and crammed them into one creepy Victorian mansion. Celier House, also known as the House on Ridge Avenue or the House the Devil Built, first appeared in the 1860s in Manchester on Pittsburgh's north side. Local legend claims that Charles Celier, a wealthy man from the South, built the mansion for himself, his wife Lida, and their maid Essie. From the outside, the family seemed to live a happy life, but as the saying goes, you never truly know what happens behind closed doors. In 1871, Lida discovered that her husband was having an affair with Essie. Enraged, she confronted them with either a knife or a meat cleaver, accounts vary, and brutally killed both Charles and Essie. Days later, she was found sitting in a rocking chair, cradling Essie's severed head. After the horrifying murders, the house remained vacant for almost 20 years. In 1892, a local railroad company bought the property to use as housing for its workers, but eerie happenings like strange noises and ghostly apparitions soon drove the workers away. By the end of the 19th century, the house was back on the market. A recluse named Dr. Adolf Brunrichter later moved into the house. Neighbors rarely saw him until they heard a woman's terrified scream from inside. When police arrived, they found the decapitated body of a young woman, but the doctor had vanished without a trace. In the 1920s, another family, also named Celier, supposedly moved into the home. Their daughter, Marie, tragically died when glass from a window shattered during a nearby gas tank explosion. Despite the terrifying tales surrounding the house, researchers eventually found no evidence of a Charles Celier, Dr. Adolf Brunrichter, or any railroad company ownership, casting doubt on the house's haunted history. Although the Celier House has since been replaced by a road, its legend endures. Some still report seeing ghostly figures walking where the house once stood. Despite efforts to debunk its story, the house remains an integral part of Pittsburgh's paranormal folklore. Due to its dark and unsettling history, which seemed to worsen with each new tenant, the house gained a notorious reputation as a haven for restless spirits. Some accounts even suggest that Thomas Edison himself visited the home to investigate its infamous paranormal activity. Accompanied by psychic medium Julia Murray, they reportedly encountered a malevolent entity capable of harming the living and traveling beyond the house's walls. The Celier Mansion is just one of many haunting stories woven into the industrial past of America's steel town. Whether you believe in this grim tale or not, certain aspects are rooted in historical fact. So it raises the question, where there's smoke, is there fire? Or is this simply a case of Pittsburgh's collective imagination running wild for the sake of local thrills? The answer remains elusive. Is Pennsylvania the most haunted state in the U.S.? Well, these places make it hard to say no. Let's check out the Grand Midway Hotel. Now, this place has a history as long as Ryan's list of unsolved mysteries. Originally built to house those hard-working coal miners, it's now a temporary residence for the living and the not-so-living. It's like a retirement home for ghosts. Except instead of shuffleboard and bingo, they've got shadowy figures and unexplained noises. Sounds like a blast, right? The Grand Midway Hotel in Winburn, Pennsylvania is considered haunted due to its long and storied past, particularly linked to its origins as a coal mining hotel in the late 1800s. The building, which dates back to the 1880s, originally served as a bustling hub for coal miners working in the surrounding area. Over the years, the hotel became a central gathering place for miners, workers, and travelers, which may explain the accumulation of various energies and spirits that are believed to linger in the hotel today. The Grand Midway Hotel was built during the height of Pennsylvania's coal mining industry. Winburn, where the hotel is located, was a major mining town at the time. The hotel served as a temporary home for many miners and workers who labored in the coal mines. Given the dangerous conditions of mining during that era, it's likely that accidents and fatalities were common, potentially adding to the hotel's haunted reputation. The hotel continued to operate as a boarding house and hotel for decades. It is believed that many guests stayed for extended periods of time, and due to the nature of transient populations in a town like Winburn, the hotel became a witness to many personal stories, some tragic and filled with hardship. Over time, rumors of ghostly encounters began to spread, as guests reported strange occurrences, such as disembodied voices, apparitions, and feelings of being watched. Filmmaker Blair Murphy purchased the Grand Midway Hotel in the early 2000s. After acquiring the hotel, Murphy began to document the paranormal experiences that took place within its walls. According to Murphy, the building is rife with ghostly activity, including sightings of shadowy figures, unexplained noises, and an overall eerie atmosphere. His personal experiences, along with reports from guests and paranormal investigators, suggest that the spirits of former miners, residents, and perhaps others who passed through the hotel continue to haunt the premises. Murphy also capitalized on the hotel's supernatural reputation, converting it into a hotspot for paranormal enthusiasts, artists, and ghost hunters. The hotel has appeared in various national TV programs, including paranormal reality shows, and has attracted investigators interested in exploring its haunted legacy. One of the most unique features of the hotel is the world's largest Ouija board, which was created by Murphy and a team of artists on the hotel's roof. The board was designed to reflect the supernatural energy that Murphy and others have experienced within the hotel, adding to its eerie charm. Objects are said to move on their own, and guests have reported feeling an unseen presence in their rooms. Blair Murphy himself has spoken about heightened paranormal activity after he moved in, describing it as a place where energies seem to swirl, with both guests and residents having unsettling dreams, hearing strange voices, and experiencing unexplained sensations. The paranormal phenomena have become such a fixture of the hotel that it has drawn in paranormal investigators and enthusiasts from around the country. In short, the Grand Midway Hotel's haunted reputation is deeply tied to its history as a coal mining hotel and the many personal stories of those who passed through its doors. Its modern paranormal fame has been bolstered by the experiences of its current owner, Blair Murphy, who now has moved but has opened the house to the public to witness the supernatural occurrences firsthand. "It's been a romantic, ongoing adventure," said Blair. "It's also my very eccentric home." Blair, now a new father and proud Guinness World Records holder, was thrilled with the achievement, having been a fan of the record books as a child. Who didn't love looking through the Guinness Records books as a kid? All right, theater kids and ghost enthusiasts, get your popcorn ready, because we're about to step into the Michler Theater. This is a haunted theater, which means instead of creaky floorboards and cobwebs, we've got velvet curtains and ghostly applause. It's like Broadway, but with more booze from beyond the grave. And you know me, I can't resist a good ghost story, especially when it involves a little drama. The Michler Theater, located in Altoona, Pennsylvania, is a historic theater that has become known for its cultural significance, as well as its reputation for being haunted. Opened in 1906, it was originally built by impresario Isaac Charles Michler, who had a vision of bringing high-quality entertainment to the growing city of Altoona. The theater has survived fire, financial difficulties, and near demolition, making its history as intriguing as the stories of its hauntings. The Michler Theater was designed to be a grand venue for performing arts and entertainment. At the time of its opening, Altoona was a bustling railroad hub, and the theater attracted major vaudeville acts, musical performances, and later, motion pictures. In 1906, shortly after its grand opening, a fire devastated much of the theater. The flames destroyed the interior, but Isaac Michler was determined to rebuild. He succeeded, and the Michler Theater reopened in 1907, once again becoming a central cultural hub. Over the years, the theater has undergone multiple renovations and restorations to preserve its beauty and historical importance. The hauntings at the Michler Theater are tied to its long and sometimes tragic history, as well as to the individuals who played major roles in its operation. Many people believe the theater is home to a number of spirits. One of the most frequently reported hauntings at the Michler Theater involves the spirit of Isaac Michler. Michler was deeply connected to the theater, and it was his life's work to ensure its success. After his death in 1944, many began to report sightings of a ghostly figure in the theater, believed to be Isaac Michler himself. His spirit is said to continue watching over the venue, ensuring its preservation and success. Michler's ghost has been spotted by performers, staff, and visitors, often seen watching rehearsals or performances from the balcony. His presence is often accompanied by the smell of cigar smoke, as Michler was known to enjoy cigars during his lifetime. In addition to Isaac Michler's ghost, there are reports of phantom voices and strange noises echoing through the theater, especially at night when the building is quiet. Disembodied whispers and footsteps have been heard in the empty corridors and backstage areas. Some visitors have also reported seeing shadowy figures moving through the aisles or standing in the wings of the stage. These apparitions often appear briefly and vanish just as quickly, leaving behind a sense of unease. Another spirit said to haunt the Michler Theater is that of a young actress who is believed to have died tragically during a performance in the early 20th century. While details of her identity remain unclear, her ghost has been spotted on stage, often appearing just before or after performances. People claim to hear a young woman's voice singing or laughing, and some have seen a fleeting figure in period clothing backstage. Her presence is particularly felt when the theater is empty, as though she continues to perform long after her death. Several paranormal investigators who have visited the Michler Theater report unexplained phenomena such as flickering lights, cold spots, and sudden drafts of cold air. These occurrences are particularly common in the auditorium and near the stage. Some believe these cold spots are associated with the presence of spirits, as the air seems to become frigid when ghosts are nearby. The Michler Theater has attracted the attention of paranormal investigators over the years, and many have conducted investigations in an attempt to capture evidence of supernatural activity. Some have recorded EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, that they believe are the voices of spirits communicating from the other side. The presence of orbs, strange mists, and unexplained energy fluctuations have also been documented by investigators using infrared cameras and EMF, electromagnetic field detectors. These findings support the belief that the theater is a hotspot for paranormal activity. The Michler Theater is not just known for its ghostly residents. It remains a beloved landmark in Altoona and is still in operation today, hosting a variety of performances, from plays and musicals to concerts and community events. The theater is a cherished part of Altoona's history, and its haunted reputation only adds to its allure. Now gather around, because today we have a spine-tingling adventure that will take you deep into the heart of American history. We're about to embark on a journey that combines the eerie with the educational as we march right into the heart of Civil War territory, the Civil War Museum in Harrisburg. This isn't just any museum. It's a place where history and the supernatural collide in the most unexpected ways. Now you might be thinking, a museum? Really? How scary can that be? That's about as scary as a tax audit. But hold your horses, because this place is practically bursting at the seams with paranormal activity. Yes, you heard that right. The Civil War Museum in Harrisburg is not just a repository of historical artifacts, it's a hotspot for ghostly encounters and unexplained phenomena. Visitors have reported seeing spectral soldiers wandering the halls as if they are still patrolling the grounds or perhaps reliving their final moments. These ghostly apparitions are often seen marching in formation, still fighting the good fight, or maybe just looking for a decent cup of coffee after all these years. Imagine the surprise of seeing a ghostly soldier in a modern-day coffee shop, trying to make sense of the world around him. I mean, can you blame them? After all, war rations were notoriously bad, and a good cup of coffee would be a welcome change. The soldiers of the Civil War had to endure some of the harshest conditions, and their food was no exception. Hardtack, salted pork, and beans were the staples, and they were often infested with weevils. And if seeing ghostly figures in full uniform isn't enough to make you spill your canteen, there's more. Visitors have also claimed to hear the faint echo of gunfire within the museum's walls. Imagine walking through a quiet, empty hallway and suddenly hearing the distant sound of musket fire and cannon blasts. It's enough to send chills down anyone's spine. Now, I'm no military strategist, but that seems like a pretty big safety hazard even for a ghost. The echoes of battle seem to be trapped within the very walls of the museum, replaying the horrors of war for eternity. The museum itself is a treasure trove of Civil War history, with exhibits that include everything from uniforms and weapons to personal letters and photographs. But it's the stories behind these artifacts that truly bring the past to life. So grab your musket and your ghost hunting goggles, because we're diving headfirst into the chilling tales of the Civil War Museum, where the past is very much present, and maybe a little bit disgruntled about the whole losing the war thing. The museum's collection includes some of the most poignant and personal items from the Civil War era. Each artifact tells a story, and some of those stories are far from over. Reenactments and dramatic displays help visitors understand the experiences of soldiers and civilians during the war. But for some, these reenactments are more than just educational. They are a way to connect with the spirits of the past. There have been reports of ghostly figures appearing during reenactments, as if the spirits of the soldiers are drawn to these portrayals of their lives in battles. The museum staff have their own stories to tell. Many have experienced unexplained phenomena while setting up exhibits or working late at night. Objects move on their own, lights flicker, and cold spots appear out of nowhere. Security footage has even captured some of these strange occurrences. Shadows move across the room, doors open and close by themselves, and sometimes faint whispers can be heard. In interviews, staff members have shared their personal encounters with the paranormal. One staff member recounted a night when she felt a cold hand on her shoulder, only to turn around and find no one there. The museum also houses a collection of letters and documents from the Civil War era. These letters provide a glimpse into the lives of the soldiers and their families, and some believe that the spirits of those who wrote them still linger. Reading these letters can be an emotional experience. They speak of love, loss, and the horrors of war. It's no wonder that the spirits of these soldiers might still be attached to the words they wrote. There have been sightings of ghostly figures reading these letters as if they are reliving the moments they described. It's a haunting reminder of the human cost of war. Visitors to the museum have also had their own paranormal experiences. Some have felt a sudden chill, others have seen shadowy figures, and a few have even heard voices whispering in their ears. The museum offers guided ghost tours, where visitors can learn about the history of the Civil War and the paranormal activity that has been reported. These tours are a popular attraction, drawing both history buffs and ghost hunters alike. Equipped with ghost hunting tools like EMF detectors and spirit boxes, visitors can try to communicate with the spirits that are said to haunt the museum. It's an experience that combines history with the thrill of the unknown. The museum takes on a whole new atmosphere at night. The dim lighting and quiet halls create a sense of anticipation, as if something is just waiting to reveal itself. And sometimes it does. There have been numerous reports of ghostly figures appearing in the darkened hallways, their presence felt even before they are seen. The Civil War was a time of great turmoil and tragedy, and the spirits of those who lived through it seem to be drawn to places where their stories are told. The museum is one such place where history and the supernatural are intertwined. For those who visit, the museum offers a unique opportunity to connect with the past in a way that is both educational and deeply personal. It's a place where history comes alive, sometimes quite literally. And don't forget to stop by the gift shop on your way out. You can pick up a souvenir to remember your visit, whether it's a book on Civil War history or a ghost hunting kit. As the sun sets and the museum closes its doors for the night, the spirits of the past remain, waiting for the next group of visitors to share their stories with. So whether you're a history enthusiast, a ghost hunter, or just someone looking for a unique experience, the Civil War Museum in Harrisburg has something for you. Come for the history, stay for the ghosts, and leave with a story you'll never forget. The Old Jail Museum in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. is a popular site for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts, mainly because of the eerie and unexplained phenomena that have persisted for over a century. Built in 1871, this jail is famous for its association with the Molly Maguires, a secretive Irish immigrant labor organization that allegedly sabotaged mining companies to advocate for better working conditions and pay in the coal mining industry. Some of the alleged hauntings and lingering mysteries at the jail revolve around the handprint that won't fade and the cursed cell, two of its most intriguing and enduring tales. In 1877, the prison was the site of a public hanging of 4 alleged members of the Molly Maguires, convicted on dubious grounds for murders they claimed they hadn't committed. Alexander Campbell, one of these men, was said to have declared his innocence as he awaited his fate. Legend has it that, in a dramatic gesture of defiance, Campbell placed his hand on the wall of his cell and declared, "This handprint will remain as proof of my innocence." After Campbell's execution, prison staff attempted to scrub the handprint away, but it mysteriously remained. Since then, numerous attempts to remove the handprint, including scrubbing and even repainting the wall, have failed. The handprint reappears persistently, with no logical explanation for why it can't be erased. Some believe this is Campbell's way of posthumously asserting his innocence, while others say it's a curse that continues to haunt the building and its staff. The cursed cell, where Campbell and others allegedly awaited execution, is said to bring misfortune to anyone who spends time there. Visitors report intense feelings of sadness and despair, and many feel an overwhelming sense of being watched or a sudden drop in temperature. The curse of this cell is linked to the alleged injustices against the Molly Maguires and the belief that innocent men were wrongly accused and executed. Some paranormal investigators believe the spirits of these men linger in this cell, creating a restless and oppressive atmosphere that affects anyone who enters. Several former prison staff and visitors to the old jail museum have reported hearing whispers and footsteps echoing in the cell, even when it is empty. Shadows and ghostly figures are said to be spotted roaming the cell block, often near the cursed cell. According to legend, some prisoners were terrified of this cell, insisting it was haunted and pleading to be placed elsewhere. The old jail museum has become a go-to location for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts who regularly report strange encounters there. From eerie whispers and footsteps to the sighting of shadowy figures, many believe that the spirits of the Molly Maguires, including Alexander Campbell, remain trapped within its walls. Today, the jail's history is preserved with tours and ghost hunts, allowing visitors to experience these spine-tingling tales for themselves. The infamous handprint and cursed cell remain at the center of the old jail museum's haunted reputation, capturing the imagination of visitors and keeping alive the mystery of what really happened to those who once inhabited it. The legend of the 7 Gates of Hell is a well-known, chilling tale from Pelham Township, Pennsylvania, near York. This urban legend suggests that a series of 7 gates, if passed through in order, will lead the traveler straight to hell itself. The gates supposedly lie along a secluded wooded area, though the exact location remains vague in many accounts. Pelham Township is a quiet, wooded area in Pennsylvania, but in the 19th century, it was home to a mental asylum. The hospital allegedly suffered a devastating fire, which resulted in many patients escaping. Due to the asylum's remote location and the nature of some of the patients' mental health issues, some former residents were reportedly dangerous. As the legend goes, several of the asylum's gates were installed to prevent these patients from escaping into nearby communities. The story goes that the asylum fire was so intense that authorities struggled to contain the chaos, and many patients perished in the flames. Some sources claim that after the fire, a local doctor or landowner erected 7 gates along a private road to further protect against potential escape attempts and to keep the public away. While there is no verified historical record of this asylum or its supposed fire, this lack of documentation has only fueled the mystery. The story has morphed over the years into a terrifying challenge for thrill seekers and ghost hunters alike. According to legend, there are 7 gates hidden in the woods, and only the first one is visible in the daytime. If someone were to find and pass through all 7 gates in the correct order at night, they would descend into hell itself. Accounts differ, with some saying the gates must be accessed in succession, and others claiming that merely stepping through the 7th gate would be enough to seal your fate. There are 2 primary versions of the story. The asylum version. As previously described, this version links the gates to the patients of the burned-down mental asylum, with spirits of the deceased patients reportedly lingering near the gates, ready to pull anyone who ventures too close into the afterlife. The landowner version. In this version, a mysterious doctor, described as a recluse with a sinister reputation, built the gates for unclear reasons. Some say he conducted occult rituals on his property and erected the gates as a way to contain or summon spirits. Both versions include the common thread that those who successfully navigate through all 7 gates will end up in hell. It's worth noting that locals and officials maintain that no such gates exist, and any supposed sightings are part of the enduring folklore. The 7 Gates of Hell remains one of Pennsylvania's most famous ghost stories. However, skeptics argue that the legend may have evolved from a blend of local folklore and ghost stories rather than actual historical events. The lack of physical evidence of these gates or the mental asylum has led to speculation that the tale is a pure urban legend, possibly inspired by the area's eerie natural landscape. Despite the skepticism, the legend draws curious visitors to Hellam Township, each hoping to glimpse the first gate, and wondering if just maybe the others might appear after dark. And there you have it, the most haunted places in Pennsylvania Part 2. I really think every inch of this state is haunted. For the people that live in Pennsylvania, you guys are brave. If there are any places I missed, please be sure to let me know in the comments. If you haven't seen my first video about Pennsylvania, be sure to find it in my paranormal playlist. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to subscribe.